There is definitely a case to make that Pop Smoke was going to be the new 50 Cent. And, if he already was, right? Because, while he was active and making music, he was on a completely different level. He was taking over the whole New York market by storm, and he was introducing a whole different aesthetic that, was being done before, but not like how Pop Smoke was doing it. And now we start to see that Pop Smoke has this influence and, where it's going. So I want to ask you, where do you think the comparison start with the whole Pop Smoke and 50 Cent debate?
I think that there's so many comparisons to be made, and I think it's a big compliment to Pop Smoke and what he was able to do in such a short amount of time, just because, they were both from New York, and what they both did was they had huge blow-ups in the span of just 1 year. And if you also look at, their come-up stories, they both had, huge mixtape runs before actually popping off into the mainstream.
That is true.
And what's really interesting, too, about that is the fact that, 50 Cent came on and, gangster rap was around, but he kind of once again reintroduced it to the masses on a huge scale. That album sold 12 million copies worldwide within a year. And then Pop Smoke did the same thing with UK drill, where he brought it to, an American market, and he also brought it to the masses. He brought it to the mainstream, and now we're seeing so many other drill artists in the States kind of popping off. And it's amazing to see how much both of those artists accomplished within just like 1 year.
Absolutely. And they also share the same aesthetic, right? Like, they're both from New York. They're both of their marketing personas, let's say, were built up, to really reflect, the New York style of hip hop and like really pay homage to that. And not only that, but, Pop Smoke's flow is also extremely potent. It sounds fantastic. It's extremely smooth, and it resembles a young 50 Cent flow at that too. And not only that, but, that deep voice and that, raw, violent sort of grimy delivery sounds very similar to 50 Cent's as well. And then after that, again, look at the persona, like, look what's going on. I mean, they were both being set up to be moguls, like guys that, were on a different wavelength. And not only that, but, there was a lot of guys that were making music with him that were like, yo, this guy's a mogul. Like, he's going to be something one day, and he's really going to get away.
For example, Quavo had met up with him to, make some music. And, Quavo was like, I feel like I'm talking to a guy who's been in the game for like over 10 years, just because he's so level-headed, and like he speaks like he has a lot of experience in the game, even though, he was only like 19 years old, which fascinates me. And what's pretty cool too is that, Pop Smoke always wore his influences on his sleeve, and one of his biggest influences, of course, was 50 Cent. And they actually met up one time because Pop Smoke wanted to do some remixes of old 50 Cent songs, which he ended up doing actually with the song Got It On Me, which is a great song, great remake of Many Men. But anyways, when they had first originally met, they were in a meeting talking about, the future of Pop Smoke's music and that sort of stuff. And as 50 Cent was talking and spitting some game, Pop Smoke was on his phone and he was like typing some stuff. And 50 Cent was kind of getting pissed off by that. And he went over to see what Pop Smoke was doing on his phone. And he was actually writing down the words that 50 Cent was telling him. So this guy, he took every aspect of his music and his career really seriously, and he was able to acknowledge the greats before him.
What do you think happens if he continues to be active and he continues to make music? Like, imagine what Pop Smoke's career could have been if he would have continued making music.
Man, it was amazing, just because we saw with, Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon, the impact that debut album had even after his passing. I believe every single song from that album had charted on the Billboard Hot 100. And what's crazy too is that 50 Cent was behind that. He's the one that really put that project together. So, if you have a guy like 50 Cent who has that much belief in you, you're going to go all the way. You're going to be one of the biggest stars in music.
And he was getting one of the biggest cosigns from, one of the biggest artist of all time. I mean, like, it's one thing to get a cosign from someone that's currently active, or someone that's done something before, but like, you're getting a cosign from 50 Cent. Like, you're not getting that's that's really nothing to play with.
In terms of the actual drill scene in New York and in the States in general, do you think that there's going to be someone else who compares to the energy and the charisma that Pop Smoke would bring on his songs?
Definitely not. No, definitely not. Because I feel as if they're all trying to chase that aesthetic, but no one really has it like Pop Smoke did. And it's I mean, maybe, who knows? I mean, we don't know where we'll be 5 years down the line and like where New York's market will be. But as of right now, I mean, like, everyone knew where Pop Smoke was with this sound. He was one of the only guys that can make it that marketable, and probably the only guy that can make it that marketable. Because in my opinion, like, even if you want to talk about like Fivio and like Chef G and like those guys, still doesn't compare to what Pop Smoke was doing
Not
on
at
that
all.
level. Not only that, but like none of them got the 50 Cent cosign. Like I mean, like that alone just did so much for that scene because 50 Cent's word does so much in an environment like that. I mean, think about those guys and how they look up to 50 Cent and like what he did for New York at one time and what those guys were trying to do. And then, that comes together and it plays together and it absolutely blows up the scene and it puts it onto a different level. It was just incredible. It was incredible because now you hear the influence of it and, I don't know how much longer it's going to go for.
I think it's going to last quite a bit, man. I don't
know.
The only
Yeah.
reason why it might not last is just because like people won't be able to do it to that caliber. That's what it would come down to for me. No one's gonna maybe be able to carry on the drill sound the way that Pop Smoke did it.
Do you think that 50 Cent ever gives another cosign for the drill scene?
I don't think so. He might give other cosigns in general, but for the drill scene, I think that he knows that no one will ever be able to do it the way that Pop Smoke did.
That's absolutely correct. And listen, guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification tab. We're connecting the world to hip hop. Tell this to your friends. We're trying to do something really cool here. We have the Discord that goes absolutely crazy. Shout out to the Discord boys, and we're going crazy on TikTok as well. So, Lou, it's a pleasure doing this here with you. And not only that, guys, but leave your favorite Pop Smoke song down in the comments. Forgot to do that at the beginning of the video. But Lou, it's been a pleasure, and you guys take it easy.